Hello, wonderful and beautiful people of God. This is your friend and your sister. You're welcome back to my channel, Elizabeth Moore. So this is going to be the third and the final series on reflection. Okay, and I promised that I would be reading a Bible verse out for us to understand, to see things from the perspective of the Bible. And I will be using the story of the prodigal son. So I'll be reading from Luke chapter 15 from verses 11 to 20 or 21. I'll stop at there because we just want to bring out some things from there. Okay, now if you have not been to my channel before, or you're seeing this face for the very first time, you are very welcome. You're welcome to join us, to subscribe to our channel, to share our videos if you find them useful. And if you want to catch up with other videos in the series, it's there on the page. It's there on the page where we have reflection. We have part 1 and part 2. So thank you very much, and thank you for your comments. Thank you for those of you that have been coming back. I am so grateful. So Luke chapter 15, and I'm reading from verse 11. Where is it? Okay. So the Bible, we have different Bible versions and they use different titles for it. Some call it the parable of the lost son. Some call it the parable of the prodigal son. Some call it the parable of the compassionate father. You see, so there are different things on there, but I'm sticking to the word prodigal son. And I'm reading from New Living Translation. So to illustrate the point further, Jesus told them the story. A man had 2 sons. The younger son told his father, "I want my share of your estate now before you die." So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. A few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings and moved to a distant land, and there he wasted all the money in wild living. About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his fields to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him, but no one gave him anything. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, "At home, even the hired servants have food enough to spare. And here I am dying of hunger." Verse 18, "I will go home to my father and say, 'Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant.'" 20, so he returned home to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, "Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son." But his father said to the servants, "Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet, and kill the calf we have been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast." So I'll just stop here at verse 23. But where I am actually going to look at is coming in verse 17. Now this boy has done what he wants to do. He has asked his father for his wealth. Okay, and father has divided his wealth, and the guy has decided to go to slander the money. Okay, so when he slandered the money, he did not know that there will be something called famine. So this famine came, and it came over the land as at the time when he had finished spending. Okay, so verse 17 tells me that when he finally came to his senses, that tells me that he has been thinking about something. He's been so hungry that even the pods that he was asked to go feed the pigs, they looked so good to him. That means he felt like eating them. Some verses even said that he ate from them, you know. So they looked so good to him. And he could just sit down and say, "Oh my world, what am I doing here? My father has much more than this to give out to even his hired servants. and his servants have things to spare out to people. So why am I languishing here? So that means he actually came to his sense. He thought about things of the past. So that is what reflection is actually bringing us to. Reflection makes you to think about the opportunities that you might have had in the past, or the things that you might miss even in present. That is what reflection is all about. So from this story, we're able to see this part that this guy reflected. And when he reflected, what happened? He came to his senses. When he came to his senses, which means that he had a brighter idea. He understood, he was able to make an informed decision. So he was not just going to make a decision of going back to his home, but he was going to make a decision based on the fact that what he has at home is better than what is happening here. So that is what reflection helps us to do. Reflection helps us to make informed choices. In 2025, as we continue, we need to make informed choices, and we need to be firm and assertive with all our choices. So that's the reason why we need to make informed choices, not just making choices, but making informed choices. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about this Bible passage is one, self-realization. Okay, so the younger son, he reflects on his actions after hitting rock bottom, because he has hit it. There was nowhere else for him to go. He was practically going to be eating pods that pigs have been fed. So he realizes his consequences. He realizes the things that he has done by being reckless. Oh, I've been so reckless with money. I've been so reckless with my words. I've been so reckless with my things. I now have to go back. Okay, so this is a moment of reflection, which is very, very, very key to how his decision will be led. Will be met. Okay, so how his next decision will be made was now based on that self-realization of his presence, his present reality. We can also talk about repentance and humility there. Okay, these are the things that God expects us to have. I've already talked about how it can lead to repentance, how reflection is already about repentance, but then the humility part of it. You must be able to say the truth to yourself and accept the truth that, yes, this is the truth of the situation at this time. Okay, so the guy comes to a place of his life where he needs to be humble. Humble yourself and go and ask for forgiveness. He recognizes that he is unworthy. So if you say you're a child of a wealthy person and you're eating pods, you're not worthy, are you? You're not worthy at that time. So he needs to go and ask for forgiveness and then move on his life. So this story tells us more about reflection. Remember, we are still talking about 2025, and we're talking about how we want to reflect on things to help us make good and informed decisions. That is the reason why I have picked this story. Okay, so I just want to pick it up here that even the prodigal son, it got to a point in his life. I'll take that again. That even the prodigal son, it got to a point in his life when he had to look back and reflect. When he had to look back into the decisions that he has made. Okay? And then he would be able to lead himself forward. Okay, these are the things that I have done. How can he lead me forward? How can he lead me to a better place? Okay, so that is one of the things that the story is teaching us. We can talk about compassion and forgiveness as well, because the father was compassionate, and he was able to forgive. So there are a lot of things that we can bring out from this Bible story. I just wanted to highlight the part where this young man was able to think about what he has done and be able to make better decisions going forward. So thank you very much. And if you have not seen this series, we have the part 1, the part 2, this is the part 3, and it's the final part of the story. Thank you for coming with me on this journey. And then, yes, I will drop another video for you to discuss with me about in the comment section. So till then, it's a bye from me.